Every week there are decisions to be made in the NFL, but none more than come week 17. Some would call this shutdown time. Some would call this playthrough time. Uh, Everybody has a lot of decisions to make, and we want to go through the process a little bit from top to bottom. If you're the best team in the league, let's say the Kansas City Chiefs, you've secured a first round bye. You have a decision to make. Andy Reid has the decision to make. Who do you play? Who do you rest? And do you rest people week 17? You have a bye in the wild card round. So is 3 weeks off what you want? Do you play them? Do you not play them? All sorts of decisions there. Or if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars and James Robinson with his high ankle, do you play him or not play him? Look, we've talked about the weekly decisions with Christian McCaffrey and the Panthers and how they've gone about their decision making. All season long, they've basically said if McCaffrey's not 100%, we are not going to play him. And that's been their mantra, I believe, and that's why he's missed all the time that he has. But the teams at the top, the bottom, and the middle all have decisions to make. Heck, the New Orleans Saints made a decision week 15 to put Michael Thomas on injured reserve. Why? Give him 3 weeks of forced rest, come back 100% for the playoffs. And that was a decision for shutdown early to make sense for him. And don't get it twisted, there's a lot of things that come into decision-making time. Agents come into play, contracts, what a player wants to do, whether he likes the current coach or not, whether he feels vested with his teammates or doesn't, whether he's moving on, whether he's legitimately nursing an injury where he's not 100%, where he normally would play through, or sometimes players are just stubborn. I mean, and most of you probably heard the J.J. Watt rant for 2 minutes about how you get paid to play this game and you have to give your 100%, doesn't matter if you're out of it. And I respect that. So it's a very individual decision. But, if we go to the Lions and Matthew Stafford, if they want him at quarterback going forward, and who's to say who's making the decision right now because there's no GM and an interim head coach. But if ownership wants him to be the quarterback, maybe they sit him because they don't want him to be injured. Or maybe if the ownership doesn't want him to be the quarterback, they don't want to have cap ramifications of having to pay an injured player and keep Matthew Stafford if he were to suffer a significant injury in week 17. So it can cut both ways. Trust me, teams think of all of this as they hash it out. It's a very individual decision. It's multifactorial. It's a decision between the team, the player, and medical if there's a medical issue. Just like return to play every single week is. I've always said return to play doesn't happen without unanimous agreement between the three parties, the player, medical, and the team itself. If any one of those parties can veto the return to play, say for week 17, if a player says, I don't feel up to playing, he's not going to play, especially if there's a medical issue. If medical says it's not safe, he's not going to play, even if the player wants to. If medical and the player said, let's go, but the team says for contractual reasons or otherwise, we're not going to, you're going to get shut down. And so it's interesting decisions to be made.